shakes a Woody apart. This is why after every adventure, I have to go back with a big screwdriver and tighten up all the joints in the body, because these roads just shake it apart. Well, I think it's fair to say that there's no other place on the planet that can possibly resemble what we're about to go see right now. So we're here with Geoff Hacker. Thank you, an old buddy who we've known each other for a couple of books worth. Cars that he's dragged home. This man is the authority on fiberglass cars probably in the world, and he probably has the biggest collection. We're only seeing a part of it here. This is called Fiberglass Farms, where nothing is organic. So tell me what this car is.
This was called a Debonair and also known as a Venture, one of the two. And they were produced in '54, and they were built or designed by Philip Egan. Now, some of your viewers may know Philip Egan. Philip Egan was one of the design team for the Tucker, along with Alex Tremulous. When they finished up, Alex Tremulous went on to design cars like the Sun Goddess, as I remember, for Kaiser. And Philip Egan joined the company or as a consultant and designed this particular car, which is, I call it the Debonair. That sounds pretty.
Debonair.
Debonair.
Okay.
And they
so what kind of chassis is it on?
Well, it was designed, unlike a lot of the cars here, the second versions of fiberglass cars were designed to fit on full unmodified chassis. What they were trying to do was say, you know what, we realize it's hard to cut a chassis, and some of them were cut with hacksaws back in the day. It's hard to weld the chassis. So let's build a car that you take the body off and put a body on. Okay, much easier.
Okay.
Hagerty lists them at just about $100,000 each, restored. Which is nice. Now, I don't know, sometimes it's with cars that are such limited production, particularly American cars, since they weren't made by Chevrolet or Cadillac or one of the big companies, sometimes the values are hard to achieve and hard to get because people aren't familiar with them. How many of your viewers have ever seen a Venture or Debonair? As I started to say, when we started researching, we knew of none of these. It took us 2 or 3 years to find the first one. They made 6 according to Philip Egan's research.
And you have 4?
5.
5. You have 5 of the 6 ever built.
If they made 6. So they could have made 8, maybe they made 5. The records are never perfect. It's not like someone wrote it down perfectly, but his recollection was 6 of them back in the day.
I don't know a lot about these cars in general, but I know about this one in particular. This is called a Victress, but it's interesting. I was writing a book called Motor City Barn Finds a couple of years ago, and I was in Detroit. And I got a call from Geoff Hacker, who owns these cars. He said, guess what, Tom? I just found a new Victress kit car. I said, that's interesting. Where is it? He said, in Detroit. I said, son of a gun, I'm in Detroit right now. He said, so am I. This is a kit car that was built, I believe, on a TR3 or TR2 Triumph chassis. Fiberglass body. You can see it was a roof, the roof was cut for a sunroof, but there's not even a hole yet for the back window. No back window in here yet. The trunk has been cut out. The windshield has only been hacked approximately. You can see where the line is that was molded into the body, so that's where the windshield should go. Who knows what these hood latches are for. But this was a car that people would build. They'd start off very enthusiastically, read about it in Hot Rod magazine or Popular Science, and you send away for the kit, and the kit might be $500, $1,000. You supply your own chassis, in this case a Triumph, maybe in that case a Ford. Then the work started. It's fun to take the body off the frame, and that's easy to do. But then when you had to start building the car yourself and building in window mechanisms so the doors rolled up, and building in latches and starting to build your own dashboard and getting things working. These cars took 2,000 hours to build. If you think about 2,000 hours, that's a full-time job, 50 weeks a year. So, a lot of people work 2,000 hours a year. So if you had a regular job, well, this would double your job, or it would last for 3 years or 4 years, or in this case, and in many cases, never even get done at all. They'd sit and languish in a garage, get put into the backyard, because it was just too much work. And like all these cars, and the other ones he's got in other locations, he plans on restoring this car. But boy, he's got a couple of guys that work for him that are very good at finishing up these cars. So instead of 2,000 hours, they could probably finish this in 500, because they just get on it and work quickly. They've got the systems in place. But these things are littering the country in garages, outside of garages, and a lot of them are just getting scrapped. It's really a piece of American sports car history that shouldn't be forgotten. that you know, people who couldn't afford a Jaguar or an Aston Martin or an MG, or you know, wanted something a little more exotic than a standard sedan, they could buy a kit and take the body off their Ford sedan, put this body on it, and suddenly have a sports car. So some were finished, most were not, but they're all interesting. Now this is a kind of a cheeky looking car. What are we looking at here?
This is a car called the 1955 Banger Manta Ray. There are 4 known in the world. One is built on a Curtiss chassis, it's a race car. One is built on a custom chassis, it's a drag car. Both are world famous. The third one is owned by me. We debuted at Amelia Island last year. And it's based on the 1954 Buick Wildcat concept car. In 54, 55, they started opening up the fenders, open up clamshell fenders. And it was done, from what I can tell in the styling books, to keep the brakes more ventilated. Disc brakes weren't we still had drum brakes, all 4. And so this really helped ventilate the brakes. We've got very famous pictures in the 50s. And the styling of this open kind of fender look, some people seem to, it polarizes people. Either people like it more or they like it less.
So the headlights go here or here?
Yes. The first ones came out here.
Yep.
And then Noel Banger, who was a friend of mine, Noel passed away about 2010 or so. He designed this, and he came out with, he didn't have a brochure, he had a poster, and he said, here are 3 different ways you can make this car. And he wanted people, encourage people to build them the way they wanted to. Headlights could go here, that's how we did our car. Headlights could go here, and we have a Banger Manta Ray front end over there with that, and headlights could go where you first said, just outside the fender. It really depended. It depended on what they wanted.
Heavy fiberglass.
It's extremely heavy. And I'm not sure we can pull this open. We showed one before with Ray Evernham last time on the Americana show.
Ray was here?
Yeah, Ray was here about 2 years ago. And so if you open this up,
I mean, that thing weighs.
You can see the construction also if you look on the inside.
And that's steel pipe?
Steel pipe, yeah.
So you can see the steel pipe reinforcement, and the fiberglass is kind of wrapped around it.
Which is good and bad. What you need to do is you have to have materials that flex in the same way temperature-wise. Otherwise, you start getting fiberglass flexing at different temperatures and more quickly or slowly than the material underneath it. So it takes some expertise. This is actually a banjo Ford rear end, so that would have been through 48 and a torque tube. And this originally would have had a Ford flathead in it, most likely, which has been these. I believe these are the motor mounts for that.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think. When we found this, it had a Chevrolet 265. It's already been updated, so these might actually be for the Chevrolet.
Yep. Okay.
But we pulled that out. Is this the kind of stuff you want?
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see how that front end would be somewhat polarizing. And there's one over here that does look like a Ferrari.
Well, that's one of 3 cars that were done in the 50s that look like inspired by Ferrari. It was our favorite kind of cars are the ones that look like European cars but drive like American cars. Because if they drive like American cars, that means you can get the parts in 1955 over the counter. If you need a Ferrari engine, well, that was back in the day when they were taking Ferraris and putting Chevrolet engines in them. So this one was actually designed and built by Karl Luckenbach. Karl Luckenbach was about 1820 when he designed and built this, and he did it in his garage in near Detroit, Michigan. Karl was later a student at the Cranbrook Academy, and then, if I hope I'm doing his legacy justice, Karl currently lives in Jacksonville, Florida, but grew up, and his company was in and around Detroit. I think Ann Arbor actually is where his company was.
And his company was in Ann Arbor?
He what?
He built these in Ann Arbor?
He built this. Just this one car.
Oh,
this
just
is
one car.
Most of what you find is a lot of people who built a car like this. He designed it, he lofted it, he sculpted it, he sanded it in fiberglass in plaster, pulled the mold off it, pulled the body, and so forth. I think if he didn't pull a mold, then this would have been male molded, where you actually create the car in plaster, and then lay down the fiberglass, and then sand it, and then pull it off the mold. So I don't think he made a mold. I think it was a male mold, which meant a model first that you pull the fiberglass off of.
Pretty good looking front end on that thing.
Well, this is a 102-inch wheelbase. He built it on a 40s Ford chassis, but made some modifications. He actually put in longitudinal springs in the back, which was unusual since they came with a cross spring, a buggy spring.
Yeah.
Still have the engine. The engine, here. Such a shame with this engine. Yeah, go ahead. It's the only car with a Lincoln engine we've ever. Let's just put this off the top. If you grab it and slide it down. It's a shame about this engine. We might be able to save it. Brand new, 0 miles.
Whoa.
They maybe took it 6 down the block and back, is what the family told me.
Whoa.
And if you open up the valve covers, let's see. Can you? I don't know. So you can take the valve cover off.
Wow, clean as a whistle.
Except a few leaves. We've got to get this engine out of here. This has only been here a few months, but this engine has no miles on it.
Look at
And it's also absolutely locked up. When his family had access, and they bought a brand new crate motor right off the sales floor, I think in '56, It was a display motor, what Carl was saying, and they put it in here. Now we tried, and we opened up, we found, our first attack on this engine was that the whole bottom end is locked up. It still has oil in it, but it looks really tough. We have another engine to go in here, but we're going to take a second pass at this engine to see if we can actually get it going.
Yeah, wow.
So I think this was an automatic, I think so, yes. And he never finished the car.
No.
Left it, he went to college, so often they happen, never finished it. It was driving, it was running, and we hope to finish this one. We do usually finish about...
Does he know you have his car?
Oh yeah, Carl is, we have a great video. If any of the people on who view your show want to see, it's on our website or YouTube page and all, they can see it.
So he lives in Jacksonville. Has he been down here?
When we were up in Detroit, we met him, and we put him in the car together. He didn't know where the car was, but we knew where Carl was, and the family that owned it knew Carl had built it because they bought it from his family. And so we said, Carl, come down. I still remember because it was 18 degrees. Ooh. It was very cold, and even though I'm well insulated, I'm not that insulated. Very cold. This car I've had for whatever 1984 is to now, 2018.
What, this car?
Yeah, Shark. We brought this back from San Diego. That's my second fiberglass car. The first one is actually, we debuted with Bill Warner's help at 2013 at Amelia Island. And it's been on Auto Week TV and Jay Leno's garage. And this one is my next car to finish.
And what kind of drivetrain would this have?
These were Sharks. This was the convertible Shark. You saw the other Porsche-based Shark that we have on the trailer out front. And this particular Shark was based on a Renault. All of the convertible Sharks were based on Renault 4CV or Dolphin. Huh. Very fun little cars. I used to drive it to high school and college, the other one, before we retired it and waited 30 years to restore that one.
Wow. Why are you into these kind of cars? I mean, what brought you into this, and why do you...
Well, I love cars. When I came down here, I lost access to all of my great older friends who had heavy iron, you know, the Marmons and the Packers and so forth. But I found this car. Not this very one, but the other one. And so I became interested in fiberglass cars. And this was built in St. Petersburg, Florida. And I went to the library and found a whole section on the Sharks and Henry Covington, who built the coupe. And the others were designed by Glenn Gums and the company. And they only made 6 convertibles and 6 hardtops. And then I went off to college. I restored one.
And so what did you make a career in?
I was working for a company called Ecker Drugs. My background's a PhD in industrial organizational psychology.
You know, I think that about does it. Geoff Hacker, I try to make a point to come here every 10 years.
Yes, good to see you 10 years.
So I'll be back in, 2028.
Okay,
right? So,
well, we look forward to that. We'll
you.
have more cars.
Thank you so much.
Great to see you again.
You know, I don't know, I guess this looks like a 51 Mercury Custom. This one, at least the front end, looks something like a 55, 56 Thunderbird.